The Wildcat Sports Club CNY Brewfest is coming up January 31st and February 1st at the New York State Fairgrounds. Taste your way through unlimited samples from more than 100 breweries. Now featuring hard ciders, seltzers, craft cocktails, and mocktails too. Grab your tickets now at cnybrewfest.com.
WHD2 Bridgeport, ESPN Radio. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Jill Schumacher here with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson for the first show back of the semester. How are we feeling so far, guys?
Feels good to be back.
I don't think I've ever been more excited for anything in my life than I am right now.
Some are saying, I want people to get the word up, we're back.
We are back. Ohio State football is also back.
Oh my goodness. Talk about
they really never left, let's be honest.
I mean, wasn't
people were arguing for a while that they did leave, and Ryan Day also is checked.
Well, here's the thing: is
people
Ohio
are
State
not
fans is the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry that big where you'd rather beat Michigan or would you rather win a national championship? You had the chance to figure it out this year, so I think people are some tough questions to answer.
I'm not sure they're sure yet, to be completely honest.
They're still reeling it in.
They're trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think Michigan fans are too.
I'll let you know right now that a lot of people have a lot of words to say about that. They think that if you can't beat Michigan, the national championship means nothing.
Really?
And Dave Portnoy had a lot to say about that on Twitter. He said, it means absolutely nothing. This is an end quote. This is whatever, but
paraphrase.
That's the word. That's the word. Paraphrase.
Legally saving ourselves.
Paraphrase. Something along the lines that it does not matter if you can't beat Michigan and you get in your own heads and lose to a team that you should have won. So.
And then you win 4 straight games by double-digit figures. So I don't know.
Whoever gets the job done, I guess. You
Ryan
need something
Day,
to fire you up.
It feels like, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and Nick Saban also was saying in the pregame that he didn't deserve that heat originally, and that people were kind of coming for his throat a little bit, and that throws off the vibe on the team, and then recruiting and everything else, and it creates a whole bad atmosphere.
The thing is, he has high expectations, and he's always met them. Saban doesn't he's not really one to talk about,
Yeah.
He's always met those expectations every year.
That is very true.
Except Ryan Day, he doesn't lose to Auburn 4 straight years,
Yeah, I'm not really sure I understand the Ryan Day hatred.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown up as a fan of a team that never beats their rival. So, I mean, I can tell you right now, it can't matter that much if you're actually winning games. So,
that's fair. I mean, speaking of teams that are also still winning, the Bills are doing pretty well so far for themselves, we could say.
We could say that. Hot start. I mean, it's going to come down to Josh Allen again. It's going to be anyone versus, the Chiefs. Who can get it done? But
I don't know.
There's voodoo witchcraft magic going on at Arrowhead Stadium, and I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to touch the temple.
Yeah, stay as far away from that as I possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, right now, we know that the Bills beat the Ravens 27-25.
Oh, yeah.
Putting them at Arrowhead next Sunday for the AFC. The Bills did beat the Chiefs earlier in the season.
At home, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Revenge game for the Chiefs.
Revenge game.
What did we like from that Bills and Ravens game that needs to transfer over into the Chiefs game in a week?
You're a Ravens guy.
Just grit.
Just grit.
It felt like they did everything in that game to win it. Now, you get a wise man once said Lamar's going to fumble at least once every single game, no matter what you do. And that wise man was very correct.
Turnovers were for sure a major issue, you could say.
Yeah. The Mark Andrews one, where he caught the ball over the middle, looked like he had a big gain, and then just got it punched out was tough.
Talk about a tough game for Mark Andrews. I think my favorite was a tweet that the Ravens tweeted out before the game, and it was a little snow never bothered Mark Andrews, and there's a lot of snow did bother Mark Andrews.
Clearly it did.
The one thing that I always get bothered about is people say the cold plays such a big factor in catching the football. And there was the one play on the first or second drive of the game where Derrick Henry went to catch it on his knee. And it was just a lob pass in there that if I didn't personally catch it, I would be upset with myself. And he dropped it, and they were like, oh, it's just the weather. It's like, maybe it's the moment, maybe.
Yeah, but also, running back out the backfield, they're not pass catchers by nature. And then you got the cold, too. The cold doesn't help you, It definitely makes you, Pat McAfee's talked about, it's harder to kick in the cold. I'm sure it's harder to catch as well.
I'm sure it's harder, but I also don't think that the conditions there for that game were as bad as they could have been up in Buffalo. I think the conditions for that Philly game was borderline dangerous in my opinion. On multiple drives, I was watching people and I'm like, someone takes one wrong step, one wrong slant, one wrong route, someone's getting hurt. Thankfully, it went pretty well for the Eagles, but and then right now we all know that playoffs don't go into the MVP rankings that all the voting happened prior, and Buffalo fans aren't really too happy with certain things. They think that Josh Allen should be a really primetime contender, and he is.
I think he is.
But the thing is that right now Lamar is still, quote unquote, the favorite.
I understand that. Mm-hmm. I do. It's just something about Lamar Jackson that screams that Josh Allen just is such a great player that you almost overlook it now because of his history with the Chiefs specifically, which is crazy because Lamar loses every year at some point along the way, and everyone still thinks he's great, and then his team is letting him down.
Right.
But
so where does the narrative change? Where's the line?
I think, should Josh Allen win it this year? Probably, I would say so.
I would agree.
But
you got a lot of qualified contenders up there.
Yeah.
You can even put Joe Burrow in there, even though his team, no playoffs, but still he's got the stats to back it up. But then, again, it's sort of like that.
I feel bad for that man.
Why? Why do you feel bad for Joe Burrow?
He's making a lot of money, and he gets to play football for a living. I think that's
he's
pretty
right.
cool.
And he's Joe Burrow. So.
And he is Joe Burrow, yes.
I just feel bad for him because he's doing all that he can, and the next thing you know, the defense steps on the field for the Bengals, and then everything goes out the door that he did on the last play. So that's why I feel bad for him. But
they also lost some games where their offense didn't really score all that much, too.
Yeah.
So people blame the defense, but at the same time, the Chiefs won a bunch of close games this year. No one blames the defense.
Speaking about blaming the defense, we can go back to Notre Dame, Ohio State for a sec. I just want to say that I think there were 28
switching gears.
We didn't talk. We got to talk about the game for a second. It just happened. My goodness.
Go ahead. Go.
I'm just saying that you let out 31 points to Ohio State straight.
Yes.
And then the game's it feels like it's over. But then I don't know. I had the same sort of feeling I had 28-3 when they started to bring string drives together out of nowhere. They had like a position player throwing a pass for a two-point conversion. That happened. That's like an Edelman-esque play.
Awesome.
Faison, high school quarterback, played against him in high school.
Did you beat him?
We did. Beat a rival.
And you had I had
fun recovering that game.
You go.
No big deal. It's fine. Who's counting?
You should have been playing last night, then.
Put me in the game, coach. No, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm too busy going to Newhouse classes. So, but a bunch of different. I'd say the bunch of different crazy plays happened in that game. You had what? The fact that out route, Will Howard overthrew to the back of the end zone. That could end the game right there, made it 4 possessions. But you keep it around 3 possessions. You score a touchdown, 2-point conversion. You have a fumble, like that Dante Hightower sack on Matt Ryan. You had like that's a similar feel, kind of swinging the momentum. Another touchdown, a 2-point conversion. And then here's the thing I want to talk to you guys about. 4th and 9. That drive's moving along the line, and you stall around the 10-yard line, the 9-yard line. Post-game, Freeman says, 9 yards was asking too much for them at that point. But you have 8 minutes left in the game. You're down 16, 2 possessions. I feel like you got to go for it at that point. Or do you think that you respect the fact that they kicked the field goal? Looking back now, they did miss the chip shot, but would you call it, or would you have gone for it to kick the field goal?
I think either way, they were going to be put in a situation where they had to score 2 more times.
Yeah.
So if they take the points and they score 2 more touchdowns, then they win the game.
But
if they miss, they're in the same situation.
But if they score and they get 2-point conversion, then you score and get another 2-point conversion, you're going overtime.
Yeah. I think you would rather take
I don't
whatever
even
it was,
know
a
what
25-yard kick against 4th and 9, knowing that.
But that makes it 13 points. There's 7 minutes left in the game.
But even if you get it, the odds that Ohio State goes down and scores just like they looked like they were going to the entire game.
But also, if you go for it, and you miss it, you're pinning Ohio State back at the 4-yard line, their own 3, instead of a field goal makes it a 13-point game, and then you have them at their own 25. Like I think you got to go at that point.
I would
I
say
can see it both ways.
Okay.
But
I don't think one is inherently more correct than the other. I think that I personally would go for it, but then again, you're asking a lot out of your offense against a very strong Ohio State defense at that point, going back to back. But you kind of don't have a choice.
You had 2 straight drives where you're moving the ball 80+ yards, and then you do pretty well on that drive. You kind of stall in the red zone. But moving on for a second, it's that game kind of Syracuse fans. That last play though, what was it? 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11. That Syracuse fans were kind of having flashbacks. I don't know if you guys were. Were you kind of having flashbacks to a certain game? You have one-on-one coverage on the outside.
No, jog my memory.
With their best receiver.
Are you talking about a certain
hear me out.
Certain Cardinal
Hear
team?
me out. One-on-one coverage on the outside. Their best receiver, Jeremiah Smith. You got a 6-foot corner, Christian Gay on the outside. You got no safety help up top. First down wins the game pretty much. Where have we heard this before? Stanford, Syracuse. That Friday night in September when it was 4th and 9. Io Manor, a one-on-one on the outside with our 6-foot corner, Clarence Lewis, no safety up top, and they throw it again. Breezes right by him. Quick field goal for the win. I saw a lot of similarities. As a Syracuse fan, that last play just kind of because if Syracuse wins that game, I don't want to talk about that Stanford game again. But I did see comparisons there. The fact that how do we leave their best receiver one-on-one coverage with no help up top? I don't know how it happened in the Syracuse game, and I don't know how it happened in the Ohio State Notre Dame game.
I mean, things like that happen all the time, but I do see the comparison.
I'm sure you could go back through the season.
I'm sure we could go back and
find 100 games where that same exact.
I know.
game.
Well, if you at first you don't, you got to learn from our mistakes here. Got to have some help. If it's their best guy, of course they're gonna you give them a shot.
Yeah, I mean, going off of the whole defensive theme there, I'm gonna shift back to the Bills if that's okay with you, really quick.
That's fine. Go back to the Bills.
You know how I feel about the Buckeyes. You know how I feel.
Yeah, I wanted to give you some more time to talk about those guys.
She's too excited. She hasn't let it sink in.
Yeah, she got to let it sink in.
I think that if I start speaking about the Buckeyes, I might get a little too passionate.
Oh, we don't.
So
we don't
I need to reel that in a little bit. But I personally think that if the Bills can cover Travis Kelce like they covered him within the first game, it will be fine. I really think that they have a good shot here. I think that it's completely a 50-50 toss-up. And I know that right now a lot of people don't agree with me in that statement. But that is just my personal opinion. It is not going to be easy. I mean, the Chiefs are the third fewest rushing yards in back-to-back for running backs this year. So if Allen can really work on his scramble, which he's very good at, and force those pass rushers to get out of the way, I think they got a chance.
I don't know. The Chiefs, this year, they are worse than they've been before, and they just don't look as good as they've been before. Yet they're 15-2, and that's only one loss because they benched their starters. They find ways to do things. They have some deal with some entity somewhere that you really can't explain. I really do hope the Bills pull it out, and I hope they find a way. It's just the Chiefs and the Bills. I mean, the Bills seem to get in the regular season. They did a lot this year. They were their one actual loss, but the postseason is just a different beast, and I don't know. I hope they find a way. I just can't explain why the Chiefs will just find a way. They always find a way. They always do this.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where innocent until proven guilty, I guess. I'm not going to believe that the Bills will win that game until I see it. And then going forward, then I'll be like, the Bills will turn this around the next couple of years, and they will be the ones dominating the Chiefs. But, who knows? Toss-up is pretty close. I think it's probably like 60-40 Chiefs just because of home field advantage, but I hope it's just a great game. I mean,
I think we're gonna be a great game.
I would hope so.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break. Please join us in the Twitch stream and leave us some questions and/or comments that we can answer for you guys. Thank you.
We are back. We are back. We are so back.
Okay. Twitch.
Oh, we're talking some.
I was trying to figure out if you were talking we to we as in Notre Dame. I was rooting for Notre Dame, or we as in Syracuse.
It was
on
we
that
as in
play.
Syracuse.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. I was like,
I was leading you in there. I was just a little Syracuse tie-in. That play was, it was eerily similar.
It was. Yeah.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
That's why you lead them along.
As soon as you said top receiver, I was like, oh no,
not Io Manor.
Come on, man.
Dude, because if Syracuse wins that game, they beat BC. We're in the playoff.
Now you're starting to sound like the SEC.
We are undefeated in hypothetical scenarios. We are so good at hypothetical scenarios. We are the GOAT at that.
But yeah, I just hope that the Bills can keep it close to an extent.
I think they will.
I do. Yeah.
I think they'll win. I don't know. I'm biased.
I think they have a very good shot.
Yeah, I'm more personally invested in the other game.
The Commanders and the Eagles.
Oh. It took me a second to realize what you were talking about.
You think the Super Bowl's being played this weekend?
Super Bowl?
There's still two more teams out there that can beat either of them.
When did I say that?
You just forgot about this
Forgot
game
about the
going on.
Commanders.
I'm getting choked out by this wire. Cool.
Do you want some little leeway here? I can move it.
No, I got
I
it.
can't hear the guy anymore.
You've never heard the guy.
Here, to try to fix those things, because I think that's what was the problem last time.
Patrick, I'm worried that if I start messing with things right now, that you're
Don't open them. Just press them closer.
It seems like every time I sit in here, I just get blinded
by the
light.
Wrapped up like
It's because we're not actually here.
Wow, that's a scary feeling, I guess.
What, to be blinded by light?
What are the biggest games of college basketball?
I have some.
Well, there's a couple tonight.
In the ACC, I mean.
I don't know the ACC.
In the ACC? Well, I mean, there's Tennessee and Mississippi State tonight. Are you going to make me pick out the
I'm
ACC?
not talking SEC basketball.
We're
That's
not
fake
talking
conference.
Mississippi State going to act like they're.
We're not going to act like they're a top 25 team.
No, they're probably a top 25 team because who else is?
That's
They
true.
are a
Everyone else
top
is losing.
25 team.
No, the biggest
No, I
game tonight.
know,
You know the
but
biggest game
it's-
tonight is in Olean. It's in St. Bonaventure. George Mason. That's St.
George
Bonaventure.
Mason. Something's brewing in Fairfax, man. I'm telling you.
I got some other ones. But we'll talk about it on the show. We'll talk about it when we get back.
We'll talk about it when we get back.
Do we get some comments? What's going on in the section? Fresh out the gate.
We're probably not popular enough.
We're popular. Look at that. Wow. Oh, that's a great question. Syracuse basketball will beat Duke on the first Wednesday of February. Lock it in.
Where do you see that?
No, I made that up.
I was
Thought
going
it'd be
to
like,
say.
wow, they're adding lots of chats. We should add something.
I was like, I don't see that.
I thought you sent that on your own.
anywhere.
I could send us some questions.
I was like,
for
I
us.
see that actually nowhere.
Dude, we're kind of back. We're kind of goated. St. Joe's Davidson's huge. Huge. Massive.
Is that huge tonight?
Absolutely massive.
All right, guys. Question, because I never do this right. Is it Circo or Cicero?
Cicero. Thank you, Geraldine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Geraldine Polly.
I always do.
There's only, by the way, there's only 3 good ACC games this week. Do you know what they are?
Duke at Wake Forest.
And the other Wake Forest game?
Wake Forest UNC.
Yeah.
And
Tonight. Tonight, 9 o'clock.
I like Louisville's playing somebody good.
Louisville SMU.
Yeah,
Louisville.
that's a good game.
That's Jill's team, Louisville.
Louisville.
SMU and my boys.
I have a
told
lot.
you,
I have
Andy
a lot
Enfield.
to say about Louisville.
I told you, Andy
Jill's
Enfield.
going to walk in here one day wearing a Chucky Hepburn jersey, and there's going to be a huge problem.
because he cooked us. Chucky Hepburn went nuclear on JJ Starling.
Man, he's good. He's so good.
Cicero.
Francisco, that's fun to say.
Francis.
I mean, you haven't said that since last year.
Whoa, that's trippy.
I know, guys. You don't have to laugh all at once. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Andrew, is this a win and
On March 8th.
in? Win and they're in.
We're coming back in.
Syracuse Sports Talk shows
can't
on
hear it.
No, thank you.
QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. This hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more info. Cicero.
That's
You were
fun to say.
practicing that one.
You
I'm
really
not
nailed
sure
it there.
how.
You really nailed it there.
It's fun to say.
It is.
I don't want to mess it up.
Francisco, that's fun to say.
Francisco. All right, let's talk about the Tigers.
Oh, the Clemson Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Big matchup. Syracuse on the road.
Little John Coliseum.
I mean, you're a big fan about Little John. I won't get you started on Little John Coliseum.
Little John.
Not that Little John.
No.
Different. Little John.
From Little John?
Not the rapper.
I mean, well, Clemson right now, overall, 13-4, ACC 5-1.
Impressive.
Looking pretty good right now. What does Syracuse need to do to cover?
to cover.
What? We're not
We
talking
got a chance
about
to win the
covering.
game. What are you talking about here?
Cover?
That is ridiculous.
That is wrong.
All right.
That is wrong.
But to cover that, no, I'm joking. They have to win the game. I mean, here's the thing. Clemson is one of those slower teams in the country. I think they're around 350th in pace. So like all the teams, it's like 370 plus teams.
Can you explain in pace?
So whether you play, so there are teams
Like
that
I'm 5.
Per possession.
per possession.
Oh, okay. Now
so,
I'm understanding.
So most teams get around like what? Between 60 and 70, 80 possessions a game.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson likes to use the whole shot clock, get the best shot available. So that means they'll have less
Okay.
possession in the game.
we
Syracuse-
just use different verbiage.
Okay, yes. Possessions
I know
per game, you can call it.
Adjust
Okay.
the tempo.
Adjusted,
according
we
to
could,
Ken Pom.
we get a little nerdy with that one as well. But Clemson likes to, they shoot it well, and they also like to play, the whole shot clock. So they have a
Okay.
lot of possessions each game, or a few possessions each game.
So what does Syracuse need to do to stop them from doing that?
well, that's going to happen.
Push it. They need to push the
They
pace.
need to keep the tempo up.
Yeah, they need to push the pace, which for Syracuse has been sort of a problem at times because when they push the pace, then
It
the
can
other
get
team
sloppy.
can match them pretty well too because they're pretty talented individually, but when you push it, then you start, having some sloppy turnovers, and that's where Clemson will beat you. Live ball turnovers just, especially if you're forced to do late shot clock things, which Syracuse, in other games that they've done that this year, has struggled just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a tough thing for them. So whoever wins the pace of the game will probably win it. But also, Clemson has one of the best backcourts in the ACC. Some would argue the best. Chase Hunter, Jaden Zachary, transfer from Boston College, if you didn't know.
I mean, Clemson fresh off an Elite Eight run. I mean, it could have been a Final Four team, too.
And people forget about Ian Shiflin down there in the paint, too. He's going to be a tough matchup for Lampkin or whoever's down there trying to stop him. He's one of those sneaky players, like a Luka Doncic type feel or Jokic type feel, where he just gets down there and somehow he throws it up and it goes in. He's incredible. They're good.
Yeah, it's also going to come down to three-point defense, too, for Syracuse. I mean, we talked about Clemson is probably a top 10% three-point shooting team in the country. I think they're actually here top 16%. They shoot around 38.9% a game. They also shoot a lot of threes. They shoot 9.3 threes a game at a 39% clip. So if you can keep it on the perimeter, keep the pace up, you got a shot in this one. Tough place to play again. It doesn't help that you're not in the Dome. You are in probably one of the most rowdy environments in the ACC at Clemson. Yeah,
and to take a page out of Coach Red Autry's book, make it a 2-point game.
Yeah.
You know? You have to stop them from shooting the three because it's not a contest because they'll make it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Chase Hunter has made 50 threes this year. He's shooting 45% from behind the arc. That's an incredible number that you're not going to stop.
Oh, yeah.
Odds are he might have a bad game and still hit 3 of them.
Right.
And so
that's still 9 points. I mean, that's a big swing for a team that has had some trouble shooting three outside the top 300 in threes. But against Notre Dame, it started to cook a little bit. But again, you need more efficient play from Starling. He had 21, but it can't be on 7 for 20 from the field. You need 21, but you need it on half those shots.
Well, we see that often where it's like these little bit of spurts of consistency, where we see a glimpse of like how they used to, not want to say used to play, but how the team like used to look, and then it's like for that 10-minute span, it's good, and then all of a sudden it like goes away all of a sudden.
We'll talk about those two completely different halves of basketball. Notre Dame comes out on an 11-0 run, and then Syracuse out the gate comes back down 17. So I mean, you have two. That's the problem, is you have two completely different teams. You just don't know which one you're going to get, which makes the games interesting. But not consistency is key here, and you need to find it. Especially we're in January, March is coming up. You want a shot at getting a good ACC tournament seed to get have some potential quad one wins, potentially make some bubble noise. They're nearly flat bubble right now, but hey, some wins, start to pile those up, and then you get some big shots at home to your fiercest opposition like North Carolina and Duke, and not Virginia. But we do play Virginia as well, but they also need some help right now.
I mean, talking about consistency, I have my riser for today.
Wait, can I interrupt you?
I did totally slide him.
Oh gosh.
What? Okay. Can you just repeat yourself really quickly?
Okay.
What do you think Syracuse has to do to get to the bubble?
To the bubble? Yeah. I think they need to win out these quad 3, quad 2 games, especially like the lower tiers of the ACC. Like, all right, I think the season turns on that West Coast trip, but we can talk about that in a second.
Oh, those are tough.
Because at Cal and at Stanford, because those statistically they do not like him. They do not like these games. They're like quad 3s, like maybe quad 2s at best, in terms of net ranking, and that's a lot of how the bubble, how the tournament decides bubble teams. But like, you need to win the games you're supposed to, especially these home games, and you need to start winning games that. Because you didn't really help yourself in the non-conference. You lost to Georgetown. You lost your big games versus Texas and Texas Tech. So now you really have to start picking up the pace, and you don't want to look past it because then you start losing to teams you shouldn't.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one game at a time. It's going to be games like Notre Dame. That's a huge game because if they lose that game, you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
But they come back down 17 and get a quad 3 win out of that.
Yeah. The problem is in the ACC is if you're on the bubble or outside of the bubble trying to get into it, you don't have the opportunity to lose a game.
Right, that's the problem.
Yes, you get Duke at home. Yes, you get UNC at home. You have an opportunity against Clemson on the road, which is a quad 1 game.
Yep.
If you don't win any of those, there's no other opportunity. You only play 3 teams in the conference that will bump you up, and I don't even think UNC's one of them.
No, UNC's not. Their game versus UNC, this is a home game. It's a good quad 2. But look at the stretch for Syracuse. I mean, not winnable games, but this is the stretch you want to have to prove yourself. It's 5 straight games. Quad 1. You have 2 quad 1 games and 3 quad 2 games. You need to go 4-1 in that stretch, and one of your losses being a quad 1 game, if not 5-0. So you play Clemson on the road. That's top tier net ranking quad 1 game. Then Pitt at home. They're nearly a quad 1 game. It's in the Dome too. They're 33rd.
Yeah.
They move up a couple more spots. It could be a top tier win. At Stanford's quad 2, at Cal's quad 2, and then quad 1 versus 2 overall in the net rankings, Duke. So, I mean, this is a stretch of prove-it games where, I mean, Syracuse has done pretty well. They've won 3 of 4 in their 2 losses before that stretch. One was Florida State, which was quad 1, and then one was Louisville as well. So
You mean Louisville?
Louisville. Good team, Louisville.
You're going to learn.
They are.
Louisville. But this is your 5-game stretch where your season gets, you go up or down from this 5 games. It starts tomorrow night in Little John Coliseum. Yeah.
All right, sorry, I bumped you guys off. Risers and Fallers.
Risers and Fallers in the ACC. Who you got?
Well, Louisville is actually my riser.
Of course, you love these guys.
This is only mainly because I did go off on a little bit of I don't want to say a preemptive tangent, but I did think I had my rights to be a little worried that they only had one returner on that team for the season.
Like a walk-on freshman?
One, I have no idea who. I don't know who.
But that's
everyone else.
That's how teams are.
I'm aware.
Kelsey, man,
I'm aware of that. But all I am saying is that my concern was I had no idea how that team and how those puzzle pieces were going to fit together come the start of the season, and I think that they have completely proven me wrong. They're 7-1 in the ACC, third in the ACC. Third in the ACC and 25 in the AP polls. So for that reason, they are my riser. I'm not saying that they're my riser because of anything that has happened over the past couple of weeks, but they are for sure my riser.
Oh, we saw them in person.
Yes,
and they did a lot of rising.
They have proven me wrong for sure.
My riser and faller came in the same game on Saturday. My faller is going to be UNC. It looked like they had righted the ship. Everything was going really well for them, and then my riser comes in. Stanford beats them almost at the buzzer. I mean, Stanford's 4-3 in the conference now. Just a classic ACC team, right? Over there on the West Coast. But that trip, if they're over there playing at home for 2 games in a row against some of these ACC teams that are competitive, they have the opportunity to win both of them, and suddenly they're 6-3 or 8-5, and they're sneakily becoming one of the better teams in the ACC. So, Stanford, riser.
On the other side of this break, we'll get a chance to hear Patrick's riser and faller as we continue our segment. Please leave a comment in the Twitch stream, and we will get back to you guys on that one.
This is Orange Nation.
Yep. See who there? Yeah, comments. Tell us your risers and fallers. I got a good one coming up, and a good faller.
Thank you.
And they continue to fall, far down. I don't know. Did you see the Lenardi ESPN bracketology tonight?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Okay. So what would you prefer me to say exactly? I'm trying to find the email. Oh, okay. ESPN Radio.
Got it.
You're listening to us over noon. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Bingo.
Sorry about that. You're good.
What are we saying? Do we say anything good? We did great.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I can't hear anything.
No, you're good.
You're gonna read that one word for word. I hope you know that when we come back. When we on the next break, you're gonna say it word for word. I know you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I would read it. I would just.
I look like this. I wouldn't say it.
I would just be like, we're right back on 97.7.
What if Syracuse basketball played outside?
That'd be cold.
On the aircraft carrier.
Whoa, the aircraft carrier on Lake Onondaga. On Onondaga Lake.
In Armory
Can
Square.
You get an aircraft carrier onto Onondaga Lake?
We could probably do that. What would Syracuse's record be if they played outside? If they had home games outside.
What would their attendance be?
I think the Duke game would be pretty packed.
I would be there.
I would be at all those games, but I don't know. Syracuse basketball playing. Okay, all right. It can't snow on the court. There's like a ceiling over the court.
Got it.
But
condensation still though.
It's fine. That's fine. It's like a little. Maybe they have like a dome. It's the dome, but it's open walls.
So you might as well just play in the dome.
No, but it's cold.
What? It's not outside then.
It is outside because there's no walls.
So then what is it, like a party tent? Like I'm at a wedding?
Yeah.
It's like a rented tent.
It's like one of those preseason tournaments where they just play it in the
You think their
ballroom.
chances would be better or worse if they played in outside? Like they played on like some like playground courts.
I would say worse because the wind up here on the hill.
It works on them too.
Yeah, but still.
All right, what if the court's on the hill, like legitimately, like down, Marshall
Sounds
Street?
like
Which way do
Down
we
Waverly.
go?
Sounds dangerous.
We're shooting up.
Oh no, got to shoot down.
All right, fine. I guess we can scratch that one.
I like the idea.
Playing outside.
I also love the idea of big teams going to play at tiny little arenas.
Of course, like Alabama at North Dakota, or perhaps Rutgers at Kennesaw State.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I know you do too, about fields for lacrosse teams and how there's not really a home field advantage due to the size that a lot of these stadiums people play in. That it's really, I don't want to say just Hopkins, but Ohio State has a nice stadium too, where it's smaller.
Hopkins is really nice.
Where when it's like, like all these teams, like Syracuse has such a large fan base. Thank you.
I heard them.
Has such a large fan base, but when you're playing in the dome and it's made for what? How many people?
5 people.
5. Okay. It's just gonna feel empty, no matter. I don't want to say no matter what.
Tech
but
is back. Tech is back. Tech.
You just don't think Syracuse could completely sell out a lacrosse game. I do.
I don't
think they could do it.
think right now in the state of lacrosse anyone could like. I mean the tournament. Yeah, you could sell at the dome.
That would be sick. That'd be so cool.
They had it at Gillette Rush.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN Radio Syracuse. I'm Jill Schumacher here with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson. And we are going to go right back in to our risers and fallers
I'll give you a quick
ACC.
Quick shout out here.
I know we used to do football.
We're doing
But
basketball.
now we're doing basketball.
We're back.
So we're back.
I think my riser is on the rise, and I think this week is a big one for them to determine if they're my riser or not. And that's Wake Forest. They have Duke at home and UNC on the road this week. They've won 5 straight games. They've won 7 of the last 8 games. Those are all versus, sort of middle-bottom tier of the ACC. Those are but by that I mean legitimate. They've played 5 straight quad 3 games and won them all. But I like Wake Forest. They haven't really won a big game since Michigan, and they've I think they've been 0-4 in their last 4 quad 4 games. So if they can start to pick something up, they got some big ones, and they have North Carolina, which are a 1.5-point favorite, and that's tonight.
To make it even better for you, both of those games are at home. UNC and
they got both of them at home.
Yeah.
So it's a big week in Winston-Salem, I should say. Wow.
So they definitely have the opportunity.
Big week in the LJVM Coliseum in Winston-Salem.
It's a mouthful.
But yeah, North Carolina, Duke, and at Louisville, and then Pitt, at Stanford, at Cal, and Florida State, at SMU. So those are all quad 1, quad 2 opportunities. So the next 8 games will determine if they continue to rise. If not, they could be looking at a long bubble trek here, like they did last year, where they were doing so hot and they lost to Notre Dame.
SMU kind of sneaky.
I like SMU as well, but they're not my faller. My faller's got to be Miami basketball. Miami basketball is atrocious right now. They are legitimately, they have not won a quad 1, 2, or 3 games, so that just leaves quad 4, and they've won 4 of those games. They actually went on a 7-game losing streak earlier, but Larinaga did leave, their head coach. He kind of left halfway through the season, and he said, if I couldn't get my players to stay after a Final Four, and they left for NIL purposes, then I don't really know what I can do. And you've kind of seen how.
I 100% agree with that statement. We could probably do a whole show on NIL and people leaving and transferring because of it, but
it seems to be affecting them. They've lost 14 of the last 15 games, and their one win was Presbyterian in the Watsco.
Yeah, so here's what I'll ask you. Can you be a faller if you're already at rock bottom? Because we had the same problem in football.
That's true for Florida State.
I kept picking Florida State.
I thought I kept picking Florida State.
I did too. They were just falling. Yeah, they were sinking like a rock there for a while.
I said you can always go, there's rock bottom, and then there's bottom of the rock. And they're
there, though.
They are now not SpongeBob, they are now Patrick living underneath the rock.
Oh, above, below.
Below, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, but they're pretty. I mean, they're not great. I'm gonna have to go with my followers. Miami. It's all about the U in football, maybe, but not really here on the basketball slate of things. Unless it was what? I mean, he had a good run. Elite Eight in the Final Four in 2 years. I mean, pretty good for Miami basketball. But yeah, back to the actual college basketball. I mean, open this thing up, Jill. Why don't we? Why not? Let's do it.
For me, my faller was NC State.
Okay. The Wolfpack, sad pack.
Yeah,
sad
the Wolfpack.
It's just, for me, whenever I watch them or even just get like updates on their scores, it's almost like they're winning against teams that they shouldn't beat and then losing against teams that they should beat.
That's the Wolfpack experience.
And the inconsistency of this team, and it's so unpredictable. It's throwing me off and it makes my head spin. But I will say this. They are pretty solid from the line. They're pretty consistent in free throws, so I like that.
Yeah, good. It's got to keep close games.
How consistent are they coming out of timeouts?
But the certain teams that kind of, when I looked at their schedule, I was like, okay, so we have a loss to Cal, UVA, and VT, or just a little.
It's all right.
Little confusing to me as a major contender last tournament.
Well, I was there when NC State was playing at UVA, and I thought there was no chance NC State would lose that game, and then looked up at the end, and
the score was in favor.
O'Connell once again had a chance to hit a 3 to beat UVA, or to tie UVA, send it to overtime, and he missed it this time. Thank goodness, or else UVA would be bottom of rock, but they're just rock bottom right now.
Oh, yeah. A quick thing to mention as well for the ACC. Again, the bottom three, because of the new expansion with these new SMU, Cal, and Stanford, 3 teams will not make the ACC tournament. Mm-hmm. So the bottom 3. So right now it would be Miami, Virginia, and Boston College. Those 3 would be missing out on a chance to go to Charlotte to play for an automatic qualifier in Bertha March Madness.
Yeah. That is going to be the most interesting part about ACC basketball this year.
It is.
That bubble, because right now there's 7 teams within, I guess, 2 games if you count Miami, but it's 6 teams within 1 game of that cut line. Mm. That'll be what you want to watch.
I think Syracuse can clinch an ACC tournament berth with these 2 games this week. I think because you got Clemson on the road and Pitt. If you can beat both, those are pretty great ACC teams. If you can win both those games, you will be dancing to dance, so to speak.
I would say you have to get to 7.
Well, no, but I'm saying, I think you then get a Boston College home win, but you throw.
I think Pitt is way more doable than Clemson.
I'm saying no. That's why I'm saying it's not, because I mean, for a Syracuse team like Duke, they've clinched obviously. They're going to the dance.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you can beat these Clemson and Pitt teams, you're going to clinch because you're going to play lower tier teams. And you're Syracuse. You haven't. You're 3 and 4 in conference play. You're not world beaters by any means, but this could go a long way. This is a big week.
I agree.
Just get there and give yourself a chance.
Just give a chance. Just happened to Kevin Keys' Wolfpack last year. Anything goes. See if it can happen again.
What team do you think has continued to fall this season within the ACC?
Continued to fall?
Or fallen recently? Or both?
I don't know. If you look the bottom 4 in the ACC, Georgia Tech, Boston College, Virginia, and we obviously already talked about Miami. Georgia Tech and BC both lost 4 in a row, and UVA's lost 5 in a row. And while they have been against the higher,
they should have beat SMU. That game was ridiculous.
Yeah, Boopy Miller's really good. But
Killer 3.
UVA's had chances against SMU twice. They were in it with Louisville in the first time around, and then lost by 20, and then lost by 14 again. They're not close to winning those games. It never really felt like they would. But Boston College, too, it just seems like they're in it. They were down double digits to Miami at home and had to come all the way back just to win that one to get their lone conference win of the season so far. So, I don't know. They might continue to fall. I think Georgia Tech is a team to watch. And in the backcourt of Notre Dame, Marcus Burton, Braden Shrewsbury.
Maybe saw them on full display.
They're good. They're really good.
This BC team, they got blown up by Duke. Everyone gets blown up by Duke. That's just kind of how the ACC is this year. But, I mean, it's an 18-point loss at Notre Dame. Syracuse beat them by 8. We had Georgia Tech lost by 21. Their only win is to Miami by 10, and that was on the road. So, that was at home. That was in the County Forum. I just don't see a lot of wins for this Boston College team. I think Boston College and Miami are locks. I mean, I would put them there. I just don't see anyone else not making the ACC tournament besides them. I don't see them winning.
Tonight's a good tell for Boston College. 9.5-point dogs
UVA,
at UVA. If they can pull that one out, then I'd have a little faith in them.
Yeah.
But
UVA can turn things around too.
yeah.
I mean,
so that's a game to watch if you're interested in this bubble.
that's
I'll
true.
tell you that.
I mean, we look at the bubble as a whole right now. The Lonardi just dropped his ESPN bracketology.
I saw that.
Yeah. So here's your last 4 in right now. Your last 4 teams in are Pitt, Nebraska, UCF, and Indiana. Your first 4 out: Cincinnati, Texas, SMU, and Ohio State. So Pitt, we talked about, pretty great ACC team, but they need to keep building that resume, and it's going to probably come with a Duke win in there. It's somewhat, I think. I mean, people are saying that's a big question right now. Do you think Duke goes undefeated in conference play?
Yes. I do. Sorry.
Okay.
No, you got it. You got it.
Yeah.
No, you go.
You go. To expand on?
I just think yes.
Okay, I think no, because UNC will have
one of them.
A crazy game.
They always do that.
Do you think we're going to see an Ohio State-Michigan situation with Duke and UNC?
No, because UNC is going to make the NCAA tournament.
Because
so
they love
it's a
UNC.
little bit different because everyone loves UNC, right? They've had a interesting season to this point, and they're not even last 4 in. They're last 4 buys.
I don't know about this UCF team. I saw them lose by 51 to Kansas in Orlando. They showed me nothing in that game, but I mean, props to them. They're in the Big 12. They will have the chances to win these games. I think that's the beauty of the SEC and the Big 12 is they will have these opportunities.
Yeah.
And not a lot of chances to lose bad games too. Like that's the problem in the ACC is you will have chances to lose bad games, and you will have few to win good games, just like the Big East.
And that's the problem.
You really think that UNC is going to beat Duke at home?
That's a game you throw the records out.
Doesn't matter.
You throw the quality
Yes.
of the team
This
out,
is Duke,
and
UNC.
UNC
I agree.
can beat them. I don't think UNC goes to Cameron Indoor and wins, but
The last game of the season in Chapel Hill.
Do I think they could do it? Yeah, I think 100%. Because that game just means more. But if you look, like you were talking about Pittsburgh, there's really no opportunity to move up in the ACC unless you beat Clemson or Duke. But Pitt already lost to Clemson.
Do you think?
But so you look at the rest of the first 4 out, because you're talking about UCF, maybe Indiana not being as good as people think, but sitting right there is Cincinnati, Texas, SMU, and Ohio State. And those teams are the exact same thing. They've tried to prove that they're a great team, and then they go out and have a terrible performance.
Right.
And they lose a game they shouldn't, and then that's where it gets a little scary for them. Even Xavier or VCU out of the A-10.
Right.
Just
we talk about Xavier. Xavier's got a huge week. They play St. John's on the road, then UConn at home. They are next 4 out right now, and they have a big chance to get back. I mean, they were left dead. I think Xavier, nothing was going right for the fact they were top 25 going into Thanksgiving, and then just everything goes haywire. Fremantle get hurt again. A lot of injury problems. He's been out 2 years or a year and a half plus as like their big man, probably the best player in the Big East when healthy, potentially. And they're just finding a way now. And they have 2 huge opportunities. St. John's is really the one to beat in the Big East right now, and Marquette as well, which they just beat. So watch out for Xavier if they can get it done this week. Watch out for the X-Men going to dance and making the Big East a 5 bid potentially league. Creighton just did enough to make it a 4, so we'll see if they can make it a 5.
I mean, looking at other bids and stuff, the ACC is potentially weighing some changes to the conference, and we'll talk about that on the other side of this break. But for right now, you're listening to Newhouse Afternoon. We'll be right back on ESPN Radio Syracuse 97.7.
Hey, this is former Syracuse.
Sweet.
Nice. Dude, don't sleep on a...
Okay, good.
Uh-oh.
You're in trouble, Andrew.
Oh, no. I didn't do it again.
Shoot.
Watch out.
Wait, I do have...
Oh, God.
Oh, I have no idea.
What faces I make? Can't.
I have a quick question. When it says tease the sports show with Cody Mack, is there a specific way you want me to do that? No, you're good. A new thing that you guys put is tease the sports show with Cody Mack.
It's teased up a little bit.
Do you want me to just be like, at 3, the sports show with Cody Mack?
Yeah,
Okay.
or when we come
Cool.
back, then just read that.
Cool.
And then Newhouse Star News tomorrow at 2. Back, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not us, though.
Dude, don't sleep on... People are forgetting about what's brewing down there in Happy Valley.
Throw it on a
People
dime?
forget about Ace Baldwin, man.
I might throw in a minute long, 30-second long Villanova rant real quick. Might do it. We'll see. We'll see if I can fit it in. We'll see.
Dude, Georgetown is good.
Stop saying that. It's just Sorber, man. It's just Sorber.
It wasn't. It was Micah Peavy. He put 26.
Micah Peavy and it was Malik Mack, too.
And that was also Kyle Neptune because you had your freshman on the guy who had 26 points in the game.
Luka swung on somebody. He swung on a Georgetown player. You got to
How do
check
you guys have time to watch all of these games?
We watched that game last night during the national championship.
Yes, yeah.
It's the most important.
That was the most important game of the day. It was Villanova Georgetown.
Also, everyone's going to be really mad at me on Super Bowl day
when I'm switching between
the channel to DePaul Seton
on Peacock. Oh my goodness.
Man, I will watch the most random. Yeah, Joe, I went to Cornell the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who
hey, he saw a great game.
I
Every
mean,
game I go to
I'm
is
the
great.
same way with lacrosse, so I can't really judge.
Yeah,
The X-Men.
dude, the Long Island, the Shark Tank.
I saw
They're-
that, and I was so
They're in the tournament right now. Yep.
Really?
confused.
What are they? They're
LIU?
are they NEC?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're above Central Connecticut State.
The Shark Tank, man. It's hard to win there. It's hard to win there.
It's hard to win in the Shark Tank. Oh, look, they have future Pac-12 in here, 2026, and it's Gonzaga, Utah State, San Diego State, Boise State, Oregon State, Washington State, Colorado State, and Fresno State. That's in 2026.
That'll be fun.
The SWAC.
I don't
Do you think they'll play each other like 3 times each?
Central Connecticut State's the best team in. They're better than the Sharks.
When do they play?
Let's see. All right, that's when we must see TV. Dude, they beat St. Joe's.
CCSU. Did they beat MS Lowell?
Wait, is that the Sharks?
They already lost to the
Is that
Sharks.
the Sharks
You're
at
right.
Lemoyne?
No, this is Central Connecticut State.
Oh.
Friday, January 24th. Be there, be square. We tried to get tickets to Lemoyne, and you could not, couldn't you?
Yeah, I tried. I went on their website.
It was sold out.
The day before. No, it wasn't sold out. It was.
Why could you not get in the
Why
gym?
didn't you just show up?
It was too packed. The traffic was too crazy at the Lemoyne.
It was, yeah, no, it was a big one.
Fins
we
up.
went to like double overtime with,
Fins up.
With Fairleigh Dickinson.
yeah, with FDU. Believe
FDU.
It.
After you believe it.
FDU, believe it.
FDU always comes around.
Guess who's in conferences below the NEC this year in terms of like power conferences?
Okay, is it a conference that we've seen or would care about?
Wait, what was the question?
It's
Kinda.
the America
It's
East.
on the East Coast.
It's the America East.
No, it's not. It's the
The
SWAC.
Oh no.
The what?
The SWAC. Southern's going to be dancing, it looks like.
Southern's going to be a
that's the
16
same.
Or Bethune-Cookman.
Dayton game.
First Colgate.
Oh wait, that would be so cool.
Back in 30?
Did you just mock him?
Yeah, it's not nice.
No, I just was reminding myself back in 30.
He just told you. Why'd you have to remind yourself?
Because I talk to myself sometimes, okay?
You gotta get that checked out.
That's sometimes.
Check out the
Sometimes.
schedule real quick.
Oh, someone said welcome back.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN Radio Syracuse. I'm Jill Schumacher. Here's Pat Scanlon and Andrew Watson talking some college basketball towards the end of the show. What are we thinking?
Well, I just want to do a quick shout out to
I
my
know,
alma
you-
mater, Villanova here.
Kyle
Villanova
Neptune.
and Kyle. First off, happy birthday, Kyle Neptune, head coach of Villanova Wildcats. But also not really happy birthday because Villanova blew a 9-point lead at 5 minutes and didn't score with 5 minutes to go against Georgetown yesterday in the biggest game in all of college athletics yesterday. Villanova Georgetown. Some people were like, "Were you watching the national championship?" And I said, "You mean a rematch of the 1985 national championship?" Yes, I was watching that, but I was also watching the other game. But just Villanova has. It's kind of like you know that meme where it's like the Ferrari is in like the shack. It's so you have Eric Dixon, who's the leading.
What meme are you talking
It's like
about?
there's a
Yeah.
there's like a shack. It's like a house, like a cheap house, but your car is like a Ferrari.
Okay.
So it's like this guy really spending his money on the Ferrari when he's got to figure out his house. The Villanova Wildcats
Props
right
to that
now
guy.
and
I
Kyle
like the same
Neptune are the house, and Eric Dixon's the leading scorer in the country, has 25 points a game, and they have no play design set for anyone else except when it's late in the game and things are going haywire. They just say give it to Eric Dixon, and he just dribbles around, and he gets hit and triple teamed, and I'll give it to them. They are one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the country, but they need to find their scores, and they really screwed themselves yesterday. I think that they're going to look back at this loss, especially the Virginia loss and Columbia as well, but. In the Big East play, Big East is sort of a similar problem with the ACC this year where it's very top-heavy. Like Marquette and Duke are the prospective teams right there. But the thing is, Marquette's going to lose some of these games. Duke probably will not. because Duke's that much more dominant right now. It's just like Cooper Flag is just the real deal.
Yeah, he's
quite good. We're going to see him at February 5th in the Dome. But Villanova's got to figure some stuff out. And, this year they said, all right, Cal, you got 1 year, pretty much. You have to figure it out. You got 3 years on your contract, allegedly. It's a private institution, so we don't know. But he has got 1 year left to figure it out, and you've got to go. It's sort of like Syracuse. The baseline is tournament. It doesn't really feel like it now for Syracuse, but like that's where you need to be in the tournament if you're Syracuse University in Villanova. Like these old school Big East teams, like these near blue blood programs, got to be in the tournament. And if you're not like close to it, like Autry's got to. I mean, he's getting the wins together, but you really got to start turning them together because Neptune's kind of on the fallback. It's like, oh, you beat UConn, all right, are they back? And then like Syracuse, like when they beat UNC last year, it was like, are they back? So you just got to start getting more consistent, and consistency is key, especially with the ACC and Big East teams that are trying to get in there. Even the A10 teams, the little guys.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Love the A10, but I do want to ask you about that. Would it be better for Villanova to completely like fall apart the rest of the season, or to be just good enough to make the tournament?
Just good enough to make the tournament. That you know how crazy that would be to all you gotta do is be one of the top 64 teams in the country. 68 teams.
I mean, anything can happen in March.
No, I know, but I know you love Kyle Neptune.
I've mixed feelings about Kyle Neptune.
And
I don't know if I love him.
Would you be happy to have Kyle Neptune?
If he can make the tournament, then he's deserving to stay. That's all I ask for right now.
It's almost the same situation last year as Kevin Keats at NC State, where rumors were flying around that Kevin Keats was out of there and then goes on a miracle run,
different,
and now he's there.
That's like, all right, so that's sort of like the way I'm thinking about it is like that Georgetown run where they won like 3 conference games and they won the Big East tournament out of nowhere in 2021 and then got boat raced by 30 against Colorado in the first round. That wouldn't be great, but again, the fact that you like can show that you can win games in March, like that's big for a coach, and that's going to keep Kevin Keats around for a while.
I also think it's just going to help further with recruiting standpoints. I mean,
exactly. That's another great point.
Yeah, like they might get blown out within the first round, but at least you could say you made it to March.
I can't make another NIT loss. I can't do it.
I will say that worked out really well for Virginia last year, who made the tournament, and that's going really well for them.
But they just snuck in. They just snuck in, but that's fine. You just got to get there, and then they didn't score for 10 minutes of game time, but that's fine.
Sometimes you need your team to implode to build it back up. Louisville, just saying, Louisville.
But that's like that was a lot. That was a lot of implosions. They constantly lost to like Bellarmine, and
sometimes things happen, and you just need to
get a new head coach. Figure it out.
Yeah,
I just think it's like a culture thing.
I mean, a lot of these college basketball brands are like, we are, that's Villanova's attitude, or like Providence like mindset. It's like these like blah words that, like, oh, we play, we dive for loose balls, we're gritty and all that stuff. But if you can't like draw up a set on offense to win the game, are we really, does it matter that you're driving for loose balls and you're making free throws? Like, no, you have to win games. So whatever gets you to win games, especially in the NIL era where kind of these like programs are kind of falling because just one and done rentals, it's something to watch for.
I would agree.
Right. Basketball gone. I hear there's some news about the ACC football.
Oh yeah, back to football.
There is.
Interesting quote from the.
I know it is basketball season, but we do need to touch on this, considering that the ACC said they are giving its regular season championship a bye, and the teams that finish.
This is hypothetical.
This is hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
Completely.
So the ACC commissioner said we're looking into.
Yeah, we're looking into it.
Completely SEC undefeated hypothetical games.
Yes.
We are undefeated in them.
SEC hypothetical.
We're undefeated in them.
Basically, there's a possibility that the top 4 teams play on the final weekend of the regular season, first place versus fourth place, second place versus third place, with the winners playing the following weekend in the ACC championship. What do you like about this?
I like the second one more. The only problem that happens to me is what happens to the other teams.
What happens to them? Who do they play?
Then you lose
rivalry games.
You lose rivalry games. Because if one of the teams is in it, you can't play.
Are we just scheduling random teams that aren't in the top 4? Like, are they have the week off? Like, what's happening?
I would assume maybe they dump a non-conference game and
at the end. But who else are you going to find to do that?
You just get rid of a non-conference game for all the ACC teams. Like,
that's not bad.
Next year, NC State and Virginia are playing a non-conference game.
And Syracuse.
Yeah, they're in the same conference, but it's a non-conference game. So it's stuff like that where.
Can you speak on that? What were you saying?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure NC State and UVA are playing next year or in the year after.
But it's not a conference
in a non-conference.
How does that make any sense?
I have no idea. I couldn't explain it.
They're playing in the conference. Like they're both in the conference.
But when you look up the schedule.
That's what I said.
Yeah, when you look, I mean, I can get back to you on it. But when you look up the schedule,
it
says
my brain.
non-conference.
Interesting. All right, so
interesting.
But that's not common though.
No.
I like it, though. I like the idea of it. I think you're giving, I don't want to say a chance, but I want to say a chance to other teams that if you're not just the top two, then
I think is that another that gives you more power wins for a conference. Usually, like the last couple of years, have been struggling, and that's this year they would have been a 1-bid league if not for they could have been a 3-bid league honestly, but they ended up they were 2-bid league because we beat Miami and Clemson beat SMU for the auto bid of steal, but it's tough.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm going to ask you guys a quick little question for Judge Jill.
You're about to enter the Judge Jillian Schumacher's courtroom. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. Judge Jill, go.
Within college basketball right now, what are 2 teams that you think should swap conferences?
Syracuse to the Big East.
That would be cool.
Okay.
But who do they switch for?
DePaul.
Okay.
No. Oh my goodness, I have no idea. Can we get Cal and Stanford back to the Pac-12?
Okay, that's cheat. That's cheat.
Can we just do that?
That's not swapping. That's just moving too.
All right, then we'll trade. Oh my goodness, Florida State to the SEC for Vandy.
Really?
Give me that.
I don't hate that actually. That's not bad.
For football.
Just for football.
Thank you guys for listening this hour. Make sure you tune in at 3 for the sports show with Cody Mack, and tomorrow at 2 for the Newhouse afternoon show. Thank you. I'm Jill Schumacher with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson.